I was a deputy county manager in Henrico County, and I had what I call the softer side of the house: social services, health, mental health, behavioral health, so on, and community corrections in the courts. I was confronted with an emergency room nurse from St. Mary's Hospital.
One of the emergency department nurses who started talking about the fact that our community didn't have a domestic violence rape crisis shelter or resources.
Henrico police are excellent when they come in and deliver a victim of domestic violence. But after we have them for 2 days, they're released right back. And where do they wind up? Back where they were abused.
We would discharge patients from the emergency department with maybe a phone number to call for a hotline, but not really having anything to offer them for a safe place to go. That really impacted us. We never knew what was going to happen once someone left the hospital.
Realized we were operating homes for mental health, we were operating behavioral homes, disability homes, so there are no residential homes for somebody who's a victim of domestic violence. So that led me back to St. Mary's Hospital, and I shared that story with Sister Joanne. And I said, this is a problem, and it's a problem that needs a solution. And I think it needs somebody to come forward with a facility that we could have a shelter. And she said, I think I know people who can help us. And she said, I'll get back to you. Meanwhile, I talked to Henrico Board of Supervisors, the county manager, and I said, this needs to be done. And we don't have the resources to do it, but it's an urgent problem. So that led us to saying the next step, in order to receive a lease, we had to create an organization. And the next thing you know, a group of very, very strong-willed women wrestled and came up with the concept of a nonprofit called Safe Harbor.
Unwavering was the word that came to mind. I feel like with the changing world and changing nation, changing community, kind of all the different variables and things that are constantly moving, Safe Harbor is always there. I find that, the support and the hope.
The people that come to Safe Harbor come from a place of despair and fear. They feel like they don't have another choice, or they may be stuck in a situation. And after they come to Safe Harbor, they see that there is life after being a victim of violence. And that is so impactful and so critical in their healing.
I would say unique. Evelyn's Place and Safe Harbor is probably the most successful human trafficking shelter and program in the nation. I think unique would probably be the best word to describe it.
I think Safe Harbor's work is so important because it is a vast program. It's not just about shelter, it's about education, it's about mental health, it's about families, just living a safe life. And being able to have resources and an outlet and support in the community.
I think it's important because we help those who are most in need and most vulnerable. Those who come to us for shelter have nowhere else to go for safety. Those who come to us for counseling have no other options for counseling, and they know that we do good work. The same with our case management program, the same with our court program.
And the greatest thing, I think, is it's the holistic approach. It's not just treating the victim, but the children that are involved, and that's absolutely key. It's not just a shelter. It's not just temporarily. It's engaging the victim and their family back to become holistic family units and to succeed. If that's getting with other nonprofits for long-term housing arrangements, if that's training for workforce issues, it's trying to make that person whole again.
It's saving lives. I believe it has saved my daughter's life. It has kept her safe.
Yeah, it's definitely not just checking off any boxes here. They definitely do go above and beyond. I could tell they genuinely do have a passion for helping people and wanting to see people succeed for real.
The first victim that I had that came to Safe Harbor, she was actually able to start getting counseling, therapy, and everything she needed, and just seeing transformation just when she would call me every few weeks to just kind of just hear the growth in her voice.
I think it's important for not only the victims that are recovered as a part of cases here locally, but now Safe Harbor takes victims from all over the country. It's an established program that performs a very unique role.
No matter where they are, Safe Harbor meets them where they are and helps them to move forward.
I'm in the unique position of remembering when there was no Safe Harbor. And I recall having patients in the emergency department who had been victims of domestic violence and sexual assault and not having a resource to send them to in the community. That's something I don't want to ever go back to, and I think it's something that the community would never want to go back to either.
Survivors would probably just either have to stay in that situation, not be able to have a safe space for their children. It would become a norm in society, and the death rate would go up.
There would be a lot of gaps in services.
They would feel lost. I'm not sure that they would know where to turn, and the community agencies that rely on Safe Harbor would also not know where to send people for help.
We are very grateful to the donors who support us and support our work. We do not charge for our services. Everything that we do and everything that we're able to do is because of the money we raise, and we're very grateful to the community, including foundations, including our government support, and especially our individual donors who reach into their own pockets to help support our work.
It doesn't have to be this grand gesture. We started very small, just starting to give a little bit every month, and we found a mission that was really important to us.
And we've seen it. You know, when we give, we can see the impacts that that's making, and you know, it's way more valuable than money.
The future of Safe Harbor is one where we need to ensure that the services that they provide are going to be there in the future for those who need it. And Safe Harbor depends on all of us to make sure that that happens.
I appreciate everybody who works in Safe Harbor, who has even given me the opportunity to really work on myself. So yeah, thank you guys.
I just want to say thank you to everybody at Safe Harbor, and I don't know where myself would be without all of this. I would be lost without you and all this craziness. I would. So just thank you all.